Just dropped my kids at school, and beautiful full moon in Sagittarius is still high in the sky. And I thought we'd start our weekly reading with a look at her in this icy Grahamstown wind. Okay, I am out of the cold. I am sitting here with my lemon hot water in my Gemini mug because it's Gemini season and I'm a Gemini, and it is the sun in Gemini all week. The full moon I was just showing you is opposing the sign of Gemini in Sagittarius, which is always the case at full moon. It's always opposite the sun. So if the sun is in Gemini, the full moon will be in Sagittarius. And I'm bringing in some oils today to help us with Pluto's moving backwards into Capricorn again for the at the last part of this week. So rosemary is for remembrance, which is also quite good for Gemini season because Gemini tends to be very quick to understand and quick to absorb information, but not always quick to retain because, well, certainly in my case, I've realized that it needs to be embodied. So if you learn something, you need to be able to apply it or use it in some way or share it verbally in order for it to stick. That's certainly my experience for myself as a Gemini, but I'm interested to know what other Geminis and air signs in general have done to help take the information, which is so easily absorbed, and actually keep it retained. And then Zen Jest, because Pluto moving into Capricorn, back into Capricorn as an earth sign, it's like, how do we digest this? How do we chew on this? Because it can get sluggish in an earth sign, our digestive systems. And this is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of the above. We also got a bonus card this week, so the slide I have prepared may say pick a card between 1 and 4, but we've got an extra 5th card this week, so maybe you wanted to pick 2 cards, or maybe you just want to take the last card as a good message for you as well. Another big thing happening this week is Venus is moving into Leo, which is where she will do her retrograde in a little while's time, towards the end. I think she only turns retrograde towards the end of July, but that's a really big deal. So she's going to spend a really long time in Leo, and she's slowing down as she gets in, and she moves into Leo on Tuesday. Also, a shout out, happy birthday to my mom, who is a 5th of June baby. And let's jump in. Have you got your number between 1 and 4? Add the 5th. Let's jump in. Okay, here we go. This is a look at the week. No major arcana cards, which is quite a shift for us. We've been doing a lot of major arcana. We have got one court card with the knight, and we've got all of the elements represented through all of the suits, which is quite cool. So the start of the reading is the Six of Cups. And I think it's interesting with Pluto stepping backwards into a sign where it's like going back, rethinking, because this is a card of nostalgia. And when it's upright, it's very much indicative of thinking of the happy times more than the troubled ones, which it's bittersweet. Sometimes we get so stuck thinking of the happy times we can't move forward. Now, Pluto's whole, even though he is retrograde now, but his whole intensive energy in the sky, which I have been talking about, writing newsletters about, I mean, all astrologers are talking about Pluto's transformative potency of late, is saying something has to change. So sometimes, excuse me, when we get stuck in the Six of Cups, where we are clinging to the past because we're holding on to only the happy memories and we're forgetting that there's a reason something needs to change. It's not all happy memories. So that's something to consider. And that's our cups energy. So we sort of start with an emotional bent on the week, bearing in mind that we start the week with basically the full moon energy still in full swing. That is a time where our emotions are heightened. And that flips us into 2 upside down cards, the only 2 upside down cards of the reading, our 10 of Pentacles, which is traditionally a really lovely card, and the 2 of Wands, so earth and fire. We're coming off a fire moon, and Venus is moving into a fire sign. Pluto is moving back into an earth sign. So for me, especially in light of the 6 of Cups, these 2 cards do feel very much to me like, you know, the ideal of the happy, perfect life that you've created, which is happy 10 of Cups, the right way up rather than the wrong way up. That's not really the truth of it. So wherever something is really beginning to change in your life, be it in your personal life, be it in your career, be it in, you're moving your kids at school, or you're moving country, or you're moving town, or whatever it is, where there is a forced change beginning to happen, even if it's more by choice than force, Pluto will enforce some kind of change. And it's those spaces where you're clinging to what the best parts of what was, with the Six of Cups, and it's making it hard for you to move forward, which is why we're having the Ten of Pentacles upside down, and you can't quite develop the new level of Ten of Pentacles for yourself if you can't let go of the old one, especially with Pluto, because his transformation is really complete. It's like, the butterfly can't just say, well, I want to be a caterpillar for the day because I'm missing my caterpillar form. Once it's gone through that intensive transformation, it's a butterfly. There's no more caterpillar. Once the wine has turned from grape to wine, it can't just be a fresh young grape anymore. It's now a mature fermented wine. Those are the kinds of transformations Pluto is intending. So we can't really keep a foot in the other door. And this is also what the Two of Wands is saying, that we're kind of stuck trying to keep a foot in the other door. And any two card is a choice point, a change point. Because this one's upside down, it's almost like we've taken our fire, the wind, the fire that fuels us forward, and we have just hobbled ourselves. We don't want to put more fuel on the change, because we know that as we fuel the change, we're moving away from the grape phase or the worm phase, and we're moving into the next phase, which may well be nice, but we're still clinging to what was. So that is a big theme of this month, which I think is very, very interesting, what with Venus, who is all about love and values, stepping into Leo, which is all about pleasure and joy and children and family and hobbies and creativity. And she's going to do a retrograde in that space. That's really, and Pluto's step back for the next, I think it's like 7 months-ish into Capricorn to have another rethink. Did we do all our work here? Are we ready to leave this behind? And Capricorn can also have quite a traditional feel. So it's like going back into what was and going, oh gosh, but it actually doesn't fit me anymore. And then we have two swords cards that have come up, the Knight of Swords and the Seven of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is going, okay, so it's like our heads are ready to get on the bike and go, go, go. We have to move forward. We have to make decisions. We have to get sharp, strategic, etc. Both of these cards are saying that. The Seven is where it's like, take only what you need. Don't be greedy, be grateful, So, as you're leaving the old life behind, don't try to overload yourself with things you don't need. I mean, where she's struggling here with the Two of Wands, the Ten of Wands, the end of the Wands journey is like a heavily laden person who's taken too much on the journey. Whereas here we're seeing the sign is, come to terms with taking only into the new what you absolutely need, and move with gratitude for everything you learned, everything you gained, everything that came from that previous journey, but just take what you need. And there is, always with air or swords, there is a level of strategy. And so I feel like this week, and remember we're in air season with Gemini, and for this most of this week, Pluto is still in Aquarius, which is an air sign. We're having this moment of be strategic in how to move forward, even when there is resistance. So whether the strategy involved is how you handle things with whoever you're breaking apart with, whether you have to be cognizant of that with a boss, with packing up your household, with whatever it is, or whether that strategy required is to be strategic with yourself. How do I allow myself enough nostalgic thinking to be grateful? Because we end the week with gratitude with the Seven of Swords, if we're doing well with that card. How do I get grateful and give myself some time to reminisce in the past, but not enough to get stuck in it and not be able to move forward? There's a real need to move forward. I also love how this Knight of Swords has a red sole to his shoe. It's like very grounding, even though he's running. One foot is on the ground at all times, and remember to embody. Like we started this reading saying with Gemini, bring the energy, bring the information down into the body, take the practical steps that are required. Don't just do it in your head, actually move forward. And we also end with that full moon shining over the chap in the Seven of Swords who's been harvesting feathers from the birds. And he's kind of doing it slightly stealthily, but the light of the full moon is exposing him. And even though he's feeling a little sus and a little maybe like, I shouldn't be taking these without asking, he also hasn't killed any birds. He hasn't cut any feathers. He's taken only what has fallen. So, but there's still a level of sort of shame in his attitude about it. And I think that's also something that we need to look at this week, is like, where am I feeling shame in making a change? And how do I change that shame to gratitude? Be grateful for what I've learned, be grateful for what I've had, and, it's time to move on. There's no need to be ashamed. So I hope this has been helpful. And you have a beautiful week. Remember, I'm available for private readings if you want a little extra personal support on many different levels. Check the link in my bio, and I look forward to working with you. And also, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear how you feel about this, which cards you chose, what really resonated and what didn't, and get a gauge of what you'd like to see more of. Thanks for your time.